right? That's Andre 3000 of Outkast, and the guy was just so talented. That's one of the reasons that he stopped making more rap music, because he kind of didn't know where to take it anymore, and he was like, "What do I have to put into this new generation?"
He also went into acting. I saw him star in a movie about Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah,
so
and the guy was a super talent.
All right, let's jump back to the phones.
Real quick, we got somebody who's asking. Josh is asking, what gunsmith for a broken 1911? And while there are a couple of people who could do the job, man, if you know somebody who's really, really good, up on the social media or give us a call and give it a shout out, because there is a shortage of gunsmiths. It's an ongoing trope on this show.
I would say more of a severe
shortage.
Right?
Everybody's leaving town.
I'm talking to every time there's someone coming out of high school or something, I'm like, hey, and they're trying to go into a trade. I go, have you thought about gunsmithing?
There's a 2-story house with a pool in the valley waiting for some mechanically motivated kid. Yeah.
All right, let's get to Kurt in Las Vegas. Kurt, what can we do for you, sir?
Yeah, you guys were talking about aircraft guns, and I have a question that's been bothering me for many, many years, and no one can seem to answer it. Back during World War II, there were thousands of aircraft shooting at each other over Europe, and all this empty brass falling from these aircraft and rounds going off, shooting all over the place. They eventually come down to the ground. I've never once been able to find out, has anybody ever been killed by falling brass or ammo being shot during World War II on the ground, just bystanders?
I can't tell you how many times I've wondered the exact same thing.
I can tell you the answer is absolutely yes. And I know that there was a huge, somewhat successful operation by the Luftwaffe called Operation Bodenplatte, which you'll want to look up. And a bunch of every anti-aircraft gun in the U.S. and British military went up into the sky at the same time, and they actually kept numbers on how many people who were hit by what goes up must come down.
No. Well,
because you're right.
Well, yeah, because bullets. People always say, like on New Year's Eve, don't shoot your gun in the air.
Thank you.
Because it goes up at at 1,500 feet per second per se, depending on what you got, but it only comes down at 100 miles an hour.
Terminal velocity.
Yeah, because of terminal velocity, and it's not nearly the guys on Mythbusters. They went out in the desert, took a 30-06 Garand, and they covered a huge area with 4x8 plywood, and they kept shooting, and finally they got one to hit on the plywood, and it put a dent in it. But this is a fairly small thing coming out of the sky at 100 miles an hour, which is fast, but not necessarily deadly. But in planes, these are going horizontal.
Yes.
So they're going to continue going pretty damn fast, but dropping.
And those are big slugs.
Yeah, and if you're coming down on somebody,
you're not fighting gravity. You're actually going with her.
So, Kurt, I have wondered that myself, and I can't even imagine how many people were.
Imagine the outskirts of Berlin when you had like 1,000 plane raid coming on. Everybody's shooting. Imagine.
Yeah.
You're chewing up some real estate.
Oh, absolutely. So that had to be probably quite the horror, I would think.
And you're keeping aerodynamics when you're shooting toward the ground, or when you're even shooting level. When you're shooting upward, you're fighting them both ways.
And if you're talking about 20-millimeter cannon, those are explosive shells, 30-millimeter cannon.
Or 50 cal from an American.
Just a shell alone.
Yeah, that's a heap big projectile going really, really fast. So I imagine quite a few.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, because I've never heard of anybody. I've never heard any reports about it.
It's probably one of those things nobody wants to talk about.
That is literally one of those things nobody wants to talk about. If you think about, again, my father was a bomber pilot in the Second World War, and this is something that was not daily conversation, but it's something to worry about. You have a box formation of literally hundreds of bombers. Messerschmitts and Focke-Wulfs start flying through your formation, and your gunners are blazing away at them from every angle of the compass.
Including a belly gunner who's going to be pretty much just shooting straight down.
Yeah, exactly. He's right underneath.
Imagine as you are tracking the Messerschmitt that's coming up on your tail and goes through the formation, and you're banging away at it the whole time, including as it goes in front of your buddy's B-17 next door, or B-24, whatever it was. So that's one of those things that, as you correctly indicate, kind of nobody wants to talk about that.
Friendly fire is still very deadly. Anyway, all right, Kurt.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. God bless.
Again, good questions.
Yeah.
We got a smart crew here.
I tell you what, let's get to Ed in Riverside. Ed, what can we do for you?
Greetings. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm I heard you talking about the Coonan, and was that a Mott, M-O-T, the one that you had? I read something years ago about a Coonan Mott.
No, I don't believe it is.
They did something to a 1911 that made it. It's not quite a 1911, but it worked very well.
Well, this one is shaped like a 1911. It's got a much wider grip because of the fact that you're putting 357s.
Yeah, the cartridge is physically longer, so it's got to be a deeper grip.
Yeah, so it's got a pretty wide grip from front to back, not side to side, to fit a 357. But other than that, no. It's fairly comfortable to hold, and I have shot them because
have you?
Yeah, I had decided that I was going to buy one that came in, and then Scott saw it.
Nabbed it out from under you?
He made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And so that went that one.
The Mott was in 45 ACP.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, then that's definitely not it. So
okay.
All right.
Well, the question that I called to ask about, I came across something the other day that kind of bothered me. I went by a local gun store and just asked, well, what do you have to do to buy a gun? And he says, well, the first thing you've got to do is, and he went to his printer and printed me out a copy of this form called California Department of Justice Bureau of Firearms Personal Firearm Eligibility Check Application, a background check. And he said, you have to do this, and you've got to submit the fee to the state, and you've got to go to the sheriff and file it, or the police, and wherever you are, and probably pay money there too, and then you can go buy some guns. And the next time you buy guns, you've got to do this again, over and over and over. I had never heard of this before. What is it? What's actually all the paperwork to go buy?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Is he conflating it with CCW maybe?
Yeah. When you buy a firearm, you fill out your federal form, which is a 4473. That's the 1, 2, 3 page deal.
Starts on question number 9.
Yeah, that's the booklet. For California, you'll have to fill out a DROS, which is dealer record of sale. You'll have to sign the thing that you can load and unload. You'll need a second proof of residency. If you're buying a handgun, you'll need your driver's license and a handgun safety card.
But that's it. And the gun store owner should walk you right through that.
Sounds like he made a lot more complicated.
Yeah, I think you got some incorrect info.
Well, I don't know where this form came from. It's got the seal of the state of California on it, and
well, you know what?
I read you the title of it, and underneath that title it says Penal Code Section 30105.
Yeah, but I think that pertains to...
must be notarized by a licensed California notary public.
Yeah, that's something completely different.
Repeat
I'm not
that
sure.
penal code one more time for me.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up.
Okay. Penal Code Section 30105.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Ed, we're gonna let you go. We'll answer it once Jimmy finds it, because we got one more call from out of state we got to get to. Thanks for calling. We'll talk to you later. Okay, take care. Let's get to Kent in Wickenburg. Kent, what can we do for you?
Hey, one of your guys was talking about somebody that works on 1911. I've got a buddy. He's a gunsmith here in Phoenix. He's worked on 3 or 4 of my 1911s over the years. He does a great job. His name's Nelson Ford. It's the Gunsmith in Phoenix, Arizona. His phone number is 602-992-0050, and he does great work on 1911s.
Okay, cool. Does he have a website?
Yeah, he's got a website. Go on. It's called The Gunsmith in Wickenburg or Phoenix, Arizona. look up Nelson Ford. He does great work on 1911s.
All right.
Awesome.
Very
Good to hear that. We have a Phoenix affiliate, so it's really nice to hear that stuff. Folks in Phoenix, you listen up.
All right. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Ken. Thanks for the info.
You bet, guys. Take care.
You too. Take care now.
That request sounds like it's actually just going through the. What I'm looking up is for Penal Code 30105, an individual may request the Department of Justice to perform a firearms eligibility check for that individual, but that's just going through an FSO.
So you're asking to have your background check done without the purchase.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, and
Just
that will happen if, say, you have something in your background that you are concerned about, and so you'll take this, fill this out, and they will do a background check on you and let you know if you're eligible as opposed to purchasing a firearm, and that you do not have to do unless you feel you
have a questionable background or are named Jeff.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you'll go in and you buy a gun and then you get turned down, and most places are going to charge you a restocking fee.
Yeah.
So if you to avoid the restocking fee, you'll fill out this form and get answered.
And it's a $20 charge for that background check.
Yeah,
Just the background check. That's a lot cheaper than a 25% return charge on a Kunin. So real quick, Jeff, do you mind running down again? I wish to buy a bolt-action .22 caliber rifle in the state of California. I walk into the store. What am I going to do?
Well, you get your driver's license out. If it says federal limits apply, then you'll also need your passport or birth certificate.
Yes.
If it's a California, the real ID, then that's all you'll need. You'll need your firearm safety card. There will be a 10-day wait, of course, and you'll fill out your 4473. You'll fill out the DROS worksheet. You'll do the safe handling demonstration, and that's it for that day. When you come back, you will have to give your receipt. Show your ID and your receipt, and you will sign the other DROS worksheet that you've been approved and that you are taking the gun, and you sign it and do the thumbprint deal. That's what that is, and that's it.
And presume you're not just shopping; you're walking in to buy a firearm. You got a skilled gun shop employee. How long will that entire experience take?
That really varies. I've been to places where it takes like a half hour. We get it done in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. So we get it done
if
pretty
the people
quick.
are on their game.
Yeah. So that varies from store to store, and sometimes people are just really, really busy. So I'm not bagging on anybody. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. Usually at our place we get them knocked out pretty quick. All right. Hey, you're listening to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslingers Syndicated Radio Network.
We're just going to breeze out with this song.
Yeah, we will.
Got the letter